Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we delve into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Sammons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today we're joined by Meryl Bengtsson, the founder of ADHD for Life, a coaching and training company dedicated to helping entrepreneurs with ADHD transform overwhelm into clarity and momentum. With her unique blend of neuroscience and coaching, Meryl has built programs like ADHD Entrepreneur Edge to help business owners embrace their neurodiverse strengths, design systems that actually work for their brains, and scale sustainably. Mel, very warm welcome to Founders Future. Can you take us back to the beginning of your journey and what specific problem had inspired you to start ADHD Life?
Sure. I guess as the name implies, I'm focused on entrepreneurs and founders, business owners who have ADHD. And the reason I started my business was because I'm also ADHD. And I was diagnosed later in life, even though I've always felt, if you like, on the outside looking in. And even though I would say, had a successful corporate career, really struggled in it and never really felt completely natural in it.
Yeah.
And I suppose with a lot of press and focus on ADHD, I started like investigating it for myself because a lot of it resonated with me. And I then went off and got a formal diagnosis, and it really was quite, I guess, in a way, validating for me because finally I had an answer as to why I behaved the way I did or why I thought the way I did. But I didn't really just want to end there. So I really did a lot of research, a lot of investigation, really started to understand what is ADHD, how it presents itself, what's behind the scenes, how the brain operates, the different parts of the brain that are engaged, all the neurochemicals, etc. And I decided that actually this was really what I wanted to do with my life, which is help other people who are similar to myself with ADHD, particularly in business, because I think your ADHD throws up obviously a lot of positives for business owners because most ADHDers are incredibly entrepreneurial just inherently, and they have very high tolerance for risk. They normally hugely creative. They normally are the people that can always come up with a million ideas on how to solve problems, and all those things are absolutely incredible. But then on the downside, we sometimes have too many ideas that we can't ever execute, or we start them and then we lose interest halfway through, or our emotions get in the way and we overthink things and all these things that hang us up. So I wanted to help those people who have got amazing, brilliant ideas, who really need to do something in the world, but often stumble at actually getting them executed and staying true to the course. So that's essentially why I founded ADHD Life.
Amazing. And we may have to turn this into an ADHD podcast instead of a business one. So I am a fellow ADHD
Okay.
person myself.
Welcome.
But this could be fun. If you don't mind me asking, how long ago was it that you went through the diagnosis yourself?
It was about 3 years ago. So it was really for me
Yeah.
very late in life. Yeah. And a lot of people might even think, why bother at that stage in your life where maybe my corporate career was coming toward the end, not really at the cusp. But I think for me, it was life-changing and hugely, yeah, it really gave me purpose and really answered a lot of questions I had.
I can imagine. So I, funnily enough, went through the same myself around 3 years ago is when I got diagnosed with ADHD. I was
Yeah.
26, and I can imagine the relief of just, for me personally, it was just understanding certain things. As you mentioned before, we have a lot of superpowers as ADHD people and a lot of things that need to be highlighted and used to your advantage can work very well. But then the downside of it is tough. And I think
Yeah.
for me, it was just understanding that's normal and that it's okay for my brain to get low and to get dark, and it just helps me bring myself back to clarity again.
Yeah.
So moving on from corporate life and then starting up yourself as an entrepreneur, did you find any struggles and challenges in doing so?
Yes, yes, a lot. I think I am too hard on myself, but I'm not overly confident with tech.
Yeah,
And the world we live in today is far more tech oriented. And I think you have to be really fluent in a lot of technology in order to be successful in life. So you really have to be able to know what you're good at. And if you really feel like you can't do it, then find somebody else who can do it for you. So that was one of my biggest challenges. Of course, also starting your own business, particularly when you're starting from scratch, you've got all the challenges of finding clients, getting yourself known, getting out there, people know who you are, what you do, and how do you do that. So understanding the whole social media circuit that you have
yeah,
to understand and know and use. And then also, of course, with ADHD and working on your own, sometimes coming from an environment where, particularly a corporate environment, where there's a lot of structure and
yeah,
there's a lot of external pressure to help support you get through what you need to get through. And then suddenly all of that's gone and you're just on your own. And then having to essentially make yourself accountable for yourself sometimes can be a bit difficult, or motivate yourself can be a bit difficult. So all of those things can be challenging for anyone starting out in business.
yeah, 100%. Again, I can fully agree with you. The fear of opening my laptop takes over some days. And it's a lot stronger
Yeah,
than other feelings. I do
yeah.
want to dive into the business model itself. So can you walk me through how you go about acquiring your customers at the moment, and then what that service looks like on the back of it? How would you go about working with them from there?
Right. So I am mainly using advertising, meta advertising. Of course, I am also doing all the usual, which is raising my profile on LinkedIn, raising my profile on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, TikTok, pretty much everything. I think about the only thing I'm not on is X. So I do all of that and I make sure that I'm posting regularly. But ultimately, what's driving leads into the business is through meta advertising. So I'm
Cool.
advertising on Facebook and Instagram predominantly. I haven't gone down the route of Google advertising yet. So I have an advert and I've tried and tested a variety of different adverts, and one seems to be producing the best results for me.
Nice.
And then I ask people to fill in a little form once they've clicked on the ad, and obviously something resonates. And then I have an email sequence. So I contact them immediately. I get the contact, and then we make phone calls to them. And then we have conversations with people about the program. And
Amazing.
hopefully they love it and think it's something that's going to help them change their life and their business, and then we'll sign up. So what I do is I do more than just coaching, because I think whilst of course coaching is absolutely important and is better than nothing, I think what's even more important for people who work in their own business is I think you need to know what the end product is going to be for anything that you want to invest in,
Yeah,
rather than just coaching, which is pretty much there isn't necessarily a definitive outcome. It's an ongoing process. So
100%.
I have a program that ultimately is a 12-week program, and there's very much a start, a middle, and an end to the program. And it's
Nice.
all about understanding about ADHD, because I really firmly believe that people with ADHD, any condition you might have, even if you were ill, if you understood the illness, it would help you a lot more in terms of managing it. So with ADHD, not that I think you're ill, maybe that was an unwise comparison to make, but I think with ADHD, if you understand what is ADHD and you understand how it presents, it absolutely helps you in terms of being able to master it. Because I do believe that ADHD is something that you can work with and use it to your best advantage, rather than seeing it just as a disability or a deficit. I think you can turn it around and reframe it so that it becomes an advantage for you. So understanding ADHD, and I talk about the executive functioning skills, because before I was diagnosed with ADHD, and before I went down my education journey, I had never heard of executive functioning. And when the person first started talking about it, I was like, what is an executive got to do with ADHD? And I was like completely confused about it. So we talk about executive functioning, which are essentially those inherent skills we all have that help us navigate life. However, people with ADHD have um, not we are not operating at full capacity with all of our executive functioning skill as we could. So if you know what they are and you understand how they work and you understand why they work and you understand what parts of your brain are engaged in different activities, then you can actually manage it a bit better. So we do that. And we do a section on really understanding who you are. So we do two online tests. One is a character strengths test, and one is a saboteur test. So you understand what are your strengths versus what are those things that are going to derail
Yeah.
you. Then we do a whole section on your goals, because I think it's important that you have goals for your business. But if you've ever worked in the corporate world, you might have heard of SMART goals, which are the acronym which stands for specific, measurable, actionable, or achievable results orientated and time bound, which for most people with ADHD, as soon as you start talking about you need to be specific and you need to be measurable, your brain has already wandered off and thinking about rainbows or cows and fields or whatever it is. So I've created my own framework, which is the acronym of Motivate, which very much taps into your interest-based nervous system, which is what ADHD is thrive on, your energy, your values, because I think your goals and your values need to be very aligned. And obviously it needs to be memorable. So how do you make it memorable? How do you know what that you're achieving, what you want to achieve? So there's an acronym, which is Motivate. So we go through that, and it's all through the lens of your business. So everything you look at is through the lens of you and your identity as a business owner or as a founder or as an entrepreneur. And then the final piece after we've done that is we actually look at your brand identity, but not from a marketing perspective, but more about who do you want to be in your business and how do you want the world to see you and how do you want to communicate what it is that you want to achieve in the business world. And it must be, I think, aligned to your values, because if they align to your values, then it is easier to achieve because it feels more comfortable, it feels more natural, and also it helps keep you motivated and stay true, because that's our biggest problem from an ADHD. We always have, I can wake up in the morning and have a multitude of fantastic ideas, but are they going to move my business forward? Are they going to help me move my business forward? And that's what you have to always keep going back to. It's like they might have all these, I liken it if you were in a room, in those children's play areas where you can jump into those,
Yeah.
like
The
that
ball
bowl
pit.
of bubbles and balls
Yeah.
and whatever. And that's sometimes how I feel as an ADHD with all my ideas. It's like sitting in the middle of this playground and I've got tons and tons of balls all around me.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize they're great ideas and maybe jot them down for future, but stay focused on what really ignites you, what sets your heart to flutter, what gives you that little kind of feeling in your belly when you're thinking about it. And if you have that, then ultimately it should keep you focused. And that's ultimately my program. So you walk away with a very nice little bundle of knowing who you are, knowing what ADHD is, knowing what your goals are, knowing how you're going to communicate that to the world. And then I'm out of a job basically, and then you're on your way. So that's what I do.
Amazing. Love it. I love the swap of the words, the SMART goals for motivation goals. I really enjoyed that because my
Yeah.
brain does turn off. We had to do that for university, and then obviously I've had a few corporate jobs as well myself. And yeah, as soon as you literally as soon as you mentioned the word SMART goals, my brain went, yeah, I know about them.
It's like
I rolled my eyes completely. I
are
was
you
like, yeah,
already starting to think about something else, or
yeah.
make that cup of tea or whatever it is? Yeah.
Exactly that, because it's the ADHD brain is hard to navigate, and as soon as I feel like when I'm fighting against myself is when it's the hardest for me to be productive, to get on and do
Yeah.
things. But as soon as I'm in a line and it's like almost as if the nat motivation flows within me, I navigate and I wake up and it's Friday and I've done all my work and I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God, it's amazing. But it is just to, as you say, fully understand yourself and work closely enough with people that trust you to help you see that vision for
yeah,
yourself is the
yeah.
biggest.
If you can find a corporate job that allows you to behave in the way you need to behave in order to be
Yeah,
successful, then
exactly.
that is the most amazing thing that can occur. And there are businesses out there that do that. But
100%.
unfortunately, a lot of businesses, even though they might say they are celebrate neurodiversity and so on, it's really limited what they do
Yeah,
and what they offer. And one can understand that if you're a huge corporate, you can't have maybe 5,000 employees all behaving the way they want to behave. Maybe it would be a bit too disruptive and maybe wouldn't achieve what they need to achieve. But I think that's why. So statistics say that somebody with ADHD is 300%, I don't even know how you can get 300%, but 300% more likely to be an entrepreneur,
yeah,
just simply because of the way they operate and the way that it allows them the freedom that they need to have in order to be successful.
yeah, 100%. I do want to shift back a little bit to the business side of things as we were talking about before. So who would you say would be your ideal client? I know you mentioned you was using Meta as your main form of outreach in terms of ads, but who is it that you're specifically looking for and like to work with?
My ideal client would be somebody, obviously, who's an entrepreneur or a founder or a business owner, who I don't have any preference in terms of gender or age. I think the biggest thing that I want to work with somebody with is somebody who really knows that they need something to help them move their business from where they are to the next step, because there are many successful entrepreneurs out there who have ADHD, but oftentimes they might be have come across something that's very successful them for them and they operating in that framework, but they just somehow can't break free of that to move to the next level.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, they drowning in tons of ideas or they can't seem to execute things and they really need that direction and that help and that support. And that would be my ideal client. Somebody, and the biggest thing is they want the change.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you don't want the change, nothing that you say to somebody will be of benefit to them.
No, exactly that. It would just be a waste of time on both sides if you're
Yeah,
not looking to achieve that
yeah.
as well. And then in terms of the marketing and the sales process, do you have a team that you work with, or is it you as a founder wearing many hats at the moment?
I have a VA, which is an outsourced VA, and she takes care of predominantly all the social media aspect for me.
Amazing.
And I have somebody working with me who's fairly new because I am also a fairly new business, who's going to be helping me with sales calls.
Okay, nice. So what does that look like?
They will essentially support me in terms of contacting the leads and talking them through the program. And if they super interested and really maybe want to have a conversation with me as the person who ultimately they would be working with,
Yeah,
then she would organize and arrange for that.
amazing.
Yeah. And then,
Amazing. So
sorry,
no,
carry on.
go for it. Go for it.
So I'm the person that works with the individuals because it's my program,
Yeah,
it's my ideas, it's my framework, etc., etc. So I would be working with the individual. And what I forgot to mention, it's a combination of self-paced learning as well as coaching. So
amazing.
combination of both.
Okay, perfect. That's within the program, so they can take
Yeah.
their time to go through it and then obviously have options for one-to-one sessions throughout as well.
Yeah, so they strategically
Yeah.
placed the program where you would meet with me and we would discuss the various different things that you've already learned. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, perfect. Again, perfect for an ADHD where there's no time pressure and they can pick it all up
yeah,
in a
yeah,
day and get it
yeah,
done when they need to.
yeah.
Love it. So you have I'm assuming it's an appointment setter or kind of role that you have that helps nourish the leads that are coming in through the outreach and then passing on to a discovery call with yourself uh,
Yeah.
at the right
Or
time.
yeah, yes, but the person who's doing the appointment setting could also do the
So,
finalization of the sale.
gotcha.
But it's more if the person needs potentially a little bit more of an in-depth conversation about their ADHD
Yeah.
or what I can offer them, then I would have that call with the person. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, perfect. And then what is the vision over the next 12 months? Are there any specific goals or targets that you're working towards and looking forward to
Yeah.
achieving?
Sometimes for somebody with ADHD, that's a very open-ended question. It could be a million things. But really, obviously, grow my business is clearly the primary target, but I also want to become a published author. I have
Nice.
already published a self-awareness journal, but the self-awareness journal is really for anyone with ADHD. It's not specific to entrepreneurs. So I want to write a book that's specific to entrepreneurs with
Amazing.
ADHD. So that's my goal for the upcoming year. And then I have also written, it's more like a downloadable book, which is called The Frustration Flip, which is essentially somebody I was talking to actually gave me the inspiration to do it because she was neurotypical and she worked with an ADHD founder who she loved working with because he was just like I've already described, so inspirational, filled with brimming with ideas, enthusiastic, the whole thing. But what was a nightmare, she always felt like she was running behind and picking up the pieces and reminding him of everything, and she was frustrated by that. So I wrote a framework to help people who work with ADHD entrepreneurs. So it's like a co-thriving toolkit that
Nice.
you and your ADHD entrepreneur can work together through. So I would really like to see that being used widely. Yeah, uh,
Amazing.
I've got
Yeah.
lots of
What,
ideas.
again, as you said before you answered the question, an ADHD brain has got lots of ideas going on all at the same
Yeah,
time. Mine is definitely like a run of tabs, and I just
yeah.
keep flipping between the two. But 100%. So, what would you say in terms of scaling the business and seeing the whole ADHD life grow? What would you say is the biggest challenge at the moment?
I think the biggest challenge is it's a noisy world out there at the moment from a marketing perspective because everybody's jumping on the bandwagon when it comes to promoting themselves, advertising. And I think the biggest challenge is still being able to stay true to who you are and stay true to what you want to achieve in your business, but be noticed and seen by people that need the product that you're selling and not feel tempted to have to do a lot of gimmicky things in order to get those people on board. I'd love to be able to be in a position where you've got these huge companies that have hundreds of followers and so on, and they can organize a workshop and know that they're going to have a minimum
Yeah,
of 100 people attending. I'd love to be in that kind of position, but it's still obviously very early days, and I still need to cut my teeth on, yeah. So that's like Mind Valley. I don't know if have you heard of Mind Valley?
I don't
It's
think so.
yeah, it's a very big. It's mainly done online, but you can. It's like you can join as a member, and then you have workshops and all these amazing inspirational people talk, and you can join in on the workshops, and they have like annual conferences and stuff like that. And
Amazing.
that kind of environment where you associating with people who ultimately just want other people to thrive and grow and be true to
Yeah,
themselves, and that creates amazing energy, and that's what I would love to be involved in. It's things like that.
amazing. Powerful vision. I love it. And as you say, it's only the early day. It's only the start.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there's no stopping your mind once you put something.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. And as a final note, just before we cut off, what advice would you leave to any founders who are listening and just at the start of their journey, maybe like you are, to help them move forward?
I think manage your expectation is a really important thing. I think if you really believe in what you're selling or what you're doing or the service you offer to people, just stick with it, because you sometimes hear these amazing stories. Oh, I did this, and the next minute I got X amount in the bank, or I got this amount of followers, or I got this amount. I think those are rare. I'm sure they happen, but I think they're rare. Most people, you need to do the basics and you need to just keep on and you
Mm.
will get there. And that's, I think, what the advice I would give people. Just stay true to yourself, stay true to your goals, and just keep on.
Love it. Amazing. And just as a final note before we wrap off, where can people reach out to maybe meet with you if they like to, but maybe connect with you and work with you at a later
Yeah.
date?
So my website is www.adhdlife.works. And my email address is meryl@adhdlife.works.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you
Very
so much
welcome. Yeah.
for joining us, Meryl. I had a great time and a great conversation.
Thank you, Olivia, for inviting me. Yeah.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you to our listeners. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, and agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we were able to go from 0 to 30 million in less than 3 years. And until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.